point of view when it comes to literature and narration. This is probably something that you've been taught many times before. So we're just going to clarify and apply it. So can anybody tell me what point of view is when it comes to literature and narration? Any ideas? Yes, Stefan.
Is point of view like someone's viewpoint, like
Yeah.
their side of the story?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's when when we're talking about literature relating to point of view, it's about who is telling the story and through whose eyes and how they tell it and who they're addressing. So there are different kinds of point of view. The first being first person. Any ideas? First person? What that might mean?
It's like the I, me, yeah.
Exactly. So the narrator is a character within the story. Then the plot is revealed through the eyes of this person, using words I or we. These are what you want to look at for. So examples, I will find my way. I can go the distance, I sang to the statue of my father Zeus. Or we built this city on rock and roll. We chanted to our rivals. So the first one from Hercules is the singular, I. And the second one is when you have more than one person, it's plural, which is we. Those are pretty easy to find, and you'll see this a lot in literature. Another one is second person. This is a lot more rare. You don't really see this in books, but you see it all over the place outside of literature. Can anybody guess what second person is? Any idea?
Is it like the narrator's talking to the reader, like
Exactly.
like directly?
Exactly. So the narrator addresses the reader as you, making the reader feel as if he or she is a character within the story. So, an example, you ain't nothing but a hound dog. You can see the word you is highlighted. Now, tell me why this next one, slide to the left, slide to the right, 3.5 times. Why is the cha-cha slide a second person narrative? It doesn't have the word you in it. Ashley?
Because it's like giving you direct commands, like you, slide to the left, but without saying you.
Exactly. It's like I could look at Jack and say, you, sit down. But I don't have to say the word you in front of it. I could just say, sit down. It's a command, so it's implied that it's a second person. Perfect. All right, next is third person. There are two kinds of these. We have omniscient and we have limited. What's the difference? So can anybody define what the word omniscient means? Probably heard this in church.
All-knowing?
Exactly. Omniscient is all-knowing. So the narrator is not a character within the story. He has unlimited knowledge about every other character. I like to think of this as the God voice. Somebody with a bird's eye view of what's going on. They can see not only what each character is doing, but what's inside the minds of the other characters. So example, Batman was very jealous because Superman could fly, but Superman felt he was nothing compared to Batman because his fatal flaw, kryptonite. In this we can see into the mind of Batman and Superman. Superman. All right, the next one is third person limited. How is this different from third person omniscient? Jack.
It would be the same way of speech, except the narrator doesn't know everything. He knows just as much as the reader does, I would assume.
Kind of. The narrator can be a character in the story, but doesn't have to be. He has unlimited knowledge about one character, but limited knowledge about others. Sometimes you can have third person limited with two characters, but usually it's never more. So I call this the stalker voice, because that guy is following, he's focused on one person, he's stalking them, but he's not focused on anybody else. So you have the God voice and the stalker voice. So God knows everybody, the stalker only knows one person. So for example, we're going to focus on Batman. Batman jealously scowled at Superman. All he wanted to do was fly, he thought to himself. Batman pretended that he was fine with flying on Superman's back, even though he wasn't. So why is this one different from the first thing that we heard about Batman and Superman? It's a third person limited.
Because we know nothing about Superman or what he's thinking.
Exactly. We can see two things into Batman's head, but unlike the previous one, we don't know what Superman's thinking. Exactly. All right, so any questions about those? Pretty easy. Do you think you can find them? I made you? Yeah. Okay, so I put up these papers around the room. If you would pair up, or maybe a pair and a group of three. One of you wants to go solo, that's okay. But I'm going to give you 2 minutes. I'm going to time it. It's going to be a race to go around. I have a picture of the book. So this is the Hunger Games, and then an excerpt from it. So you don't have very much time to determine. And okay, you ready? 3 seconds. 2, 1, play.
French news.
Or an Italian.
Actually, is this first person?
Yes.
That's not hard.
Yes, definitely. Okay, actually, that's exactly 2 minutes. Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful work, guys.
I finished mine.
All right, so let's go through it. What did you guys think for the Hunger Games?
First person.
First.
Why is it first person?
It said I a lot.
Yeah, easy, right? First person. Okay, does Cookie do a recipe?
Second.
Why is it second person?
Because it was like instructions.
Mm-hmm.
And everything else commands.
It's a command, exactly.
It's like you do this.
Harry Potter.
First person limited.
Nailed it. Third
Yes.
person limited. Why is it third person limited?
Because you're inside the mind of Harry, but nobody else is.
Yeah.
Exactly. How to assemble a unicycle?
Second person.
Second.
Yep, easy. Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring.
Third person omniscient.
Why is it omniscient?
Because like we were in like Bilbo's head, and then we were in, and then Frodo's head.
Exactly.
And then there's more.
Perfect. And lastly, the Telltale Heart, Edgar Allan Poe.
First person.
Yep, why is it first person?
It's in like the eye and
You guys got it. So I want to end by asking, why is point of view so important in literature? Let's talk about why is being in first person so important for the Telltale Heart? Any ideas? Why, here, let me rephrase it. Why is it beneficial for this story to be in first person instead of in third person omniscient?
You would get like the same raw emotions.
Isn't
First person.
I haven't read this, but isn't the Telltale Heart sort of about like paranoia and everything?
Well, the very first paragraph, the protagonist says that I'm going to tell you the story and it'll make you believe me that I'm not crazy. So he tells a story about how he kills his man, and at the end, he finally admits it to the police. So even though the narrator says that he's not crazy over and over again, we don't trust him. And if it was omniscient, then the narrator, the God voice, could say, this man is going to tell us that he's not crazy, but he is. And that would ruin the whole point of the story, right?
Yeah.
So that's why first person is important for this one. How about Lord of the Rings? Why is third person omniscient better than first person?
Because there's so much to it.
So many.
There's a lot of different
A lot
storylines.
of different interactions.
Yeah, I mean, you have a whole lot of storylines and a whole lot of characters. I think it's great because there are all these stories that eventually come together at the end. And that wouldn't work out if we were just following Frodo the entire time. All right, lastly, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Why is this better to be a third person limited than, say, a third person omniscient?
I think maybe because it's for, juveniles, and it's hard for them to really follow a lot of different storylines. Like if you're in the minds of all the characters, but if you're focused on one, then it's easier for them to understand and
Yeah.
enjoy it more.
Absolutely. I was thinking, well, what if they told us Snape was a good guy right away? If we could see into Snape's mind?
Wait, what?
Spoilers! But yeah, otherwise we'd have to wait 7 books to find, what we do, and that's fun. We like the waiting, the mystery. All right, so that's point of view. Thank you guys.